Hey everyone, here's a review of one of my favorite watches in the whole world, but a cool version of it. And this is the G-Shock Full Metal Jacket Titanium Edition. Wild, wild watch. Let's see it. Here it is. Now let's take a look at this watch. Okay? Look at how gorgeous this is. Now, I'm in love with the G-Shocks. I'm just a sucker for them. The new line. I don't care if they're, you know, they're for wannabe nerds. They're not for real nerds. I don't care. I love it. Now, I got this watch. This is my initial G-Shock. This beautiful, beautiful piece. Just 550, and you get to feel like just an awesome badass nerd from the 80s who traveled forward in time. So this is cool. Very cool, very fun watch. Very rugged, all steel. Just such a nice take on that really unique and cool and well known and kind of retro now. Well, this is retro, but retro design, the G-Shock design. And then, of course, I have the all black edition, which is also similarly priced. It's steel, I think, coated with something. But this titanium one is something unique. It's something new. It's a special edition, and it's about $2,000. So it's close to 2,000 US dollars. So you're kind of a ridiculous person at this point if you're spending $2,000 for a Casio, dude. For a Casio, $2,000. But I couldn't help myself because it's just such a gorgeous piece. Now, when I hold this watch, the one I have on, or the other one, when I hold this one, I simply, I simply could easily and like robustly tell the weight difference. This is heavy, and this is freakishly light because it's titanium, and that's why it's more expensive too. So this is made of pure titanium, whereas this is steel. This is all titanium, and titanium is really, really light. It's also a little more rare. It's a little more. It's not a precious metal. Don't fool yourself. It's not really a precious metal, but it's a lighter, more unique, more interesting metal. And so this watch is just an incredibly light watch. Now, let me tell you about how this is made. So you see it has a camouflage pattern, right? It has a camouflage pattern here. But it's not painted on. The way they make this is they create the entire thing in a blue titanium, and then they micro laser, I guess, micro laser holes into that at various depths. Depending on how deep the hole is, that's how the light will play off. So this entire camouflage pattern is just caused by etching holes, not by painting anything. Imagine before the etching process, right before, this is just a beautiful blue watch, and that's it. And then you have the micro etching after. That's not that big of a. That's not. It's just, I don't know. That's not what makes it cool for me, but it just adds to the cool effect. It's not the biggest deal. Just the overall thing is a big deal. If it was painted on, I would still think it's cool. The fact that it's not, the fact that they went even more intense, is really, really nice for me. Now, here's another thing. This is made on a separate line. It's not made on the same line as all the other Casios are made, because this is titanium and it has a different way of interlocking the links. So this one and this one, right? These have very simple, very easy to do links. So they're just pins. So they're just small pins, and if you have a tiny tool, and I'm not a watch pro or an expert at all, zero, none of that. I'm just into watches and I know a little bit about it, but I'm definitely not an expert. Zero of that stuff. I'm gonna be on this channel, not a watch channel, although I'm into watches. So this is easy. I got it. I immediately took my tool out. Boom. I got it sized exactly for me, and I have the link stored in a nice plastic bag. This is more difficult. Now this is not a spring pin held bracelet. This is a hammered in, those hammered in ones. And if you look at it in here, you could see there's arrows on each link. Arrows on each link pointing to the direction into which you're gonna have to hammer. And I guess the direction to which you're gonna have to hammer out. So I don't have the tool for this. I don't have that hammering tool. I'm gonna have to take this to a watch shop to get it done. That's what makes it a little more complex. That's also what makes it harder for this company, for Casio, to build. That's also what makes it more difficult for Casio to make these. They have to have a separate line. They have to have a separate line because they can't make it on the same line as they could make these watches. Because now, where before, you just have to have a process to put a pin into each link. Now you have to have a process to put something else. Maybe it's more complex, maybe it's less complex, who knows? But you have to have a different process. So a different process means a different, different line. And they, in fact, have this on a different line. So that's why. That's another thing that adds to the cost. I'm sure it's not all the titanium, because titanium is not that, it shouldn't be that expensive to make it that much more. It's the cost as well. But if you're into this type of watch, if you want something truly impressive, if you want something truly wild, and still kind of subdued, rugged, really light, then consider it. But, and you can see I haven't sized this yet, right? It's too big. But consider it, but remember, this is not it's not a watch for like your first, it's your first Casio, you're not really into Casios, and you just want to explore what a Casio is, don't spend $2,000 for a watch. You can get one for much less, for $500-600. So overall, I love Casios, and overall, I would say look into these types of watches. They're very cool watches. They're just fun. They're durable. They're rugged, and you can't go wrong with these. I feel you just can't go wrong.